Greetings everybody, Brian the Inspector back again. This video is called What's the Big Deal with My Electric Panel? Okay, this is something me, myself, and I'm sure a lot of other inspectors run into quite a bit. And problems in electric panels. I don't think I can go more than a day or two without finding something janky in an electric panel. It's a pretty prevalent thing. It's something very common that we see. A lot of the common things we see are missing screws or even the incorrect screws. You know, pointed screws, electric panels, pointed tips, conducting wires, not a good idea. You want to use very specific flat-tipped screws that are less likely to pierce into a wire. You want to use those for safety. Let's see here. Sometimes we got missing knockout plates, missing knockout plugs. That's the on the front of the electric panel where the dead front cover is. There's these little perforations where you can knock those out to put a breaker in. Sometimes those are missing. There was a breaker there. It's been removed. Somebody was gonna put a breaker in. They pushed the knock in out, never put the breaker in. Whatever the reason, now you have an open hole in the front of your cover. So somebody could stick a finger in there. Somebody could stick something conductive in there. It's going to ruin your day. Okay, you want to get those patched with little snap caps. And the same thing inside the panel box itself. They'll have little round holes, and they'll knock one of those knockouts out to put a wire through there with a connector. Or sometimes they had an old circuit that they took out. They took the wire out, took the connector off, just left a hole there. Well, you don't want to leave holes there in the panel because mice, squirrels, snakes, insects, pests, critters, they'll get up in that panel. I've opened panels and you wouldn't believe the things I've seen. I've seen animal nests inside the panels. I've seen snakes inside the panels. They love those panels because it's warm for them. That electricity produces warmth. They love that stuff. Alrighty, let's see here. Oh, one of my personal favorites is double tapping or double lugging if you want to get technical. That's when you have, most breakers are set up to have one wire plug into one breaker, and that's lugged in there properly. It's screwed down, it's torqued down to spec, life is good. Now, double tapping or double lugging is when you take two wires and try to shove them into one breaker lug. That's not rated for that. Okay, some breakers are rated to be double lugged. They're very specific. They're marked on the breaker. They're able to be double lugged. A lot of them aren't. So you got to be careful and know what you're looking at and see that's double tapped. I've seen breakers triple tapped, quadruple tapped. I have seen shove so many wires in those things. It makes you wonder how it hasn't burned something down already. You can open a panel up and see signs of moisture penetration in the panel. I've seen pipes dripping onto electric panels, filling them with water. I've seen where they've mounted the panel to a masonry wall and the moisture is bleeding through the wall and soaking into the panel. I've seen where the panels are on an exterior wall and it's not sealed properly, so you have cold air blowing in and out and it's creating condensation, rusting things in the panel. I've seen it, it's crazy. Okay, melted or burnt insulation or damaged wires. I will see that occasionally where someone hooks up something that's undersized or is drawing too much current and it overheats, it melts. You want to get that corrected immediately. Backfeeding, that'll bring me to my next point. A lot of homeowners will hook up generators. They'll put the plugs in, they'll wire up those little sub panel kits, and they think they're doing it right, or they thought they've done it right. They've read the instructions, and they think that they're hooking it up right. But many areas now require an interlock to be in place. So if you have a portable generator, you cannot have the main breaker on to the panel and the generator breaker on at the same time. It's an interlock device. It physically blocks one or the other. You can only have one on at a time. And those are required now in many, many areas. You should have those. Some areas require those. Some areas require those to be installed by a licensed master electrician. So just check your area, see what's required in your neck of the woods, okay? Improper hookups can cause backfeeding, overheating. I've opened up panels and I've seen where the main disconnect lugs have just been black, just charred because it's been backfed so hard from the generator. So if you don't know what you're doing, it could be trouble. A lot of times we'll see old or outdated panels. One of the most common ones around here is Federal Pacific. Now, I could go on for hours about Federal Pacific panels. There's so much history there. There's so much documented problems there. Go to the YouTube channel Electrician U. The fellow there is Dustin Stiltzer. He has done a wonderful job breaking down the Federal Pacific panels, the history of them, the dates, the actions. He has done such an awesome job. He actually taught me a couple things about those panels that I didn't already know. So excellent channel. If you got any electrical questions, head over there to Electrician U. Check Dustin out. He knows what he's talking about. Okay, he's just a wealth of knowledge. All right, give the guy a look. Then a lot of times we'll have the old Zinsco panels. We have the old Wadsworth panels, the ones that have the inner dead front cover. You take the outer cover off, they have the inner cover in there, the old slide breakers. I still see every occasionally, I'll see these old, Bulldog pushmatic breakers, the ones that push in and out, and they're pretty cool. They're pretty awesome to see. It's like looking at a piece of history, but that's just what it is. It's a piece of history. It shouldn't be in a modern house now. So you want to have those removed. You want to have those updated by a professional qualified electrician. You want something safe, something modern, something that's going to handle the load distribution for your house safely in an effective manner. Most of the time, the rule of thumb for inspectors is anything 25, 30 years old or older is going to be recommended for evaluation and replacement, because after 25, 30 years, components can wear out, things can work themselves loose. At the very least, you want to have an electrician look over your panel, make sure that things are hooked up properly, make sure that things are sized properly, that you're the right size wires, the right size breakers, you're not causing overheating issues, you have enough service to the house. The standard installation now is 200 amps for houses. Back in the day, it wasn't uncommon to see 60 amp service, 100 amp, 150 amp. So nowadays, there's so much more electronics in a house, it requires a minimum of 200 amps for most applications. Okay, so maybe consider having your service upgraded, do a heavy upgrade with a new electrical panel. It is an initial expense, but it is worth it. What's peace of mind cost? To live in a safe house without the fear of an electrical problem, that's priceless. All right, guys? So lots and lots of things we see in electric panels. Don't be upset if the inspector flags something and you might think, well, he's kind of being petty. No, he's not. He's looking out for you, and he's trying to make sure that you're purchasing something that's safe and livable. All right, guys? Brian the Inspector, signing out. Take care.